Good afternoon.
I'm going to talk about my research proposal. The name of my research is a climatological approach of wind patterns over the United States.
That's the wind.
It's about wind.
Wow, impressive.
So I'd like to ask you if you know what is wind.
Oh, that's very cool.
Because we usually feel the wind, but what is wind?
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
what is
It's air.
all right, air
Air
moving, something else.
And at what point does it become wind? A certain speed?
No.
No,
Just
because the
Pressure, air pressure.
Pressure, yeah, very good. Yeah, actually,
In the sun.
in a few words, that's wind. It's just the move of air. So, what are the main mechanisms that are involved in this movement? Well, first of all, the difference in the sunlight that get into the earth produce the difference, as you say, differences in the pressure. So, parts of the air that is cold, you have a high pressure because the air is cold, and when the air is cold, it tends to go down, right? It has more density. When it's warm, the air tends to go up because it's less density. So basically, this mechanism produces a movement of air to balance the mass here. So we have different temperatures in the earth according to the part of the age, the year. For example, in summer or winter, we have difference in temperature in the northern hemisphere or the southern hemisphere. So you have to imagine the earth like boiling water. So these are kind of bubbles, right? And in a global way, we can say that these bubbles move all the air, the earth, right? So we have this air that is going up, parts of the earth that the air is going down, and besides we have the rotation of the earth. So all these mechanisms produce the wind patterns. When we talk about, or when I talk about wind patterns, I mean certain kind of way that the wind moves around through the air. So you can see that in some part there, the wind moves from the clockwise, and other parts moves counterclockwise. It depends on the hemisphere because of the rotation of the earth. But these are global mechanisms. What about the local mechanism? For example, when we have a temperature difference between the ocean, or the sea, and the land, we also have a current, a flow of wind. So when the land is warmer than the sea, the air tends to go up because it's warm and sink in the sea after it gets cold. The same happens when the sea is warmer than the land. Then the air tends to go up. Similar to this mechanism happens in the mountains. So we see that always there is a difference of temperature. It's involved the move of the air or wind. So the mountains affect the wind. For example, if there is a almost flat land, you can see that the flow is almost laminar, it's not turbulent. However, if we find high mountains, like Rocky Mountains, we have many turbulence. This produces sometimes we have very windy days. right? For example, this is the Pacific Ocean. So actually the air comes from the Pacific to the Atlantic, and all there is almost like here. This is a turbulence area. So where is the research problem? Well, we just saw that the wind patterns change in space, right? But the patterns change also along the time, because, for example, there are many research that talk about cycles in the Earth, in the climate, and many cycles, not just 30 years. That is the range that commonly scientists talk about climate. I mean, you talk about climate in a period of 30 years. But there are there are also many other cycles, like 100 cycles of temperature, or another mechanism involved. Not just temperature, also some currents in the above the atmosphere, the upper part of the atmosphere. So this change also in the time. So we have the effect of the climate change, the wind patterns. The Earth temperature is rising, right? So that implies that in some part of the world we will have changes, because as we saw, wind is related with the changes, the difference of temperature. So if the global temperature change, probably the wind pattern is going to change also. These changes are important to know, to have. It's important for us to have knowledge, because all the projects need to know about how is the variability of the wind in order to be able to calculate the cost of the project, how much money can you get from the wind, how much energy also. You cannot do an economic evaluation if you don't know what is the wind behavior. The context of this research is, therefore, the eolic power, right? Basically, this research is focused on the wind patterns, what is the wind behavior in the United States. But why are we going to study this for? It's because it's important for the eolic power. The eolic power is growing around the world. We have here a chart that shows the increment of the world energy. This is the total installed capacity in megawatts. Predicted, this was for the period 1997 to 2010. So as you can see, it is growing up. And every day, every year, these projects are more important to the energy supply. What is the audience of this research? Well, companies that develop projects, they're interested in the knowledge about the wind, and also scientific community involved in eolic research, like these guys. What is the purpose? Well, to elicit information about wind variability with a climatological approach, which means study the wind in a range, in a period of 30 years. What are the research questions? Well, how have wind patterns changed in the last 30 years in the United States? That's the main target. I want to analyze changes. I am assuming that there's changes to make this question. What is the influence of the climate change on wind patterns? We don't know if climate change is accelerating the wind, is just changing the direction because there are different places that are rising in temperature, or what's going on? We don't know. And also, what could be the consequence of the climate change on the variability of the wind patterns. So the study gonna talk about what could be in the future the changes, not just nowadays. In order to these companies fit their evaluation, their economical evaluation, these changes. What is my hypothesis? Given the that the climate change has been altering the weather patterns around the world, wind patterns have been changing also in the United States by effect of climate change. This is a study by Catherine Kling. She studied the pattern with the wind patterns over the United States. She studied a range from 1961 to 1990. But the problem, it's not a problem, but what this study lacks is that she didn't include the effect of climate change in the discussion about these patterns. But this is gonna be a product. One product, my result gonna be something similar to this. What are we seeing here is different points. All these points, well, you see arrows, but all these arrows have or are related with a point which has all these points have a weather station. So this arrow means that the wind speed is faster in this point than in this point, and the wind direction is to this side. So, for example, January, whether we're seeing here that mainly wind patterns go from the Pacific Ocean to the Atlantic Ocean. Then in July, which means in summer here in the northern hemisphere, the wind patterns, is mainly influenced by the temperature in the Mexican Gulf. So winds are stronger in this part of the country. And as you know, nowadays we're having a lot of tornadoes here. It's because the temperature in this part of the earth is rising. So basically, that's going to be the research about. Thank you.
Yeah.